Why have guitars that sound like this when it can sound like this? They sound monumental, dominant, and fat in your face, and if this is the type of guitar tone that you're looking to achieve for your mixes, then you have come to the right video. Hey there friends, it's Jack Taylor, and today I reveal the secret to achieving a killer down-tuned metal guitar tone. And of course you want the guitars to sound chuggy with better attack power and to sit well with the low end, and which is usually really hard to achieve, but there is ways to do it. There's no hardware that was used in the making of this guitar tone, it's just using DI with an audio interface, just using that, and then just using plugins to make the desirable guitar tone. However, if you're one of these gatekeeping metalheads that say the guitar tone sounds rather fake, then I suggest that you click off this video and just don't bother wasting my time. Just a quick little disclaimer, I do not encourage you guys to buy any of the plugins that I use for the making of these guitar tones or the said plugins that I use. You can use any plugin out there that you can use to get the desirable guitar tone, and you can either way achieve the good results. You just have to choose the right approach, and it's how you use the plugins. Like I say, it doesn't depend on the plugins you use, it's how you use the plugins. So therefore I'm going to teach you guys like how to approach that and what you're kind of expecting out of it. And I really hope this video provides value to you to give you a better understanding of the post-production process. Now, without wasting any of your time, if you found this video helpful, smash that like button, leave down a comment on your thoughts or anything that I've missed out that I should have said in the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content in the future. Also, if you're feeling generous and you want to support my work further, I have a Patreon page where you can get instant access to .wav files, Guitar Pro tabs, mix stems, and raw multi-track audio files from just £3 a month. You'll even get a shout out in the outros of my videos, so go support me. And with that said, let's get on with the video. Okay, so here we have the project file right in front of us. This is a mixing and mastering commission that I did for a client not long ago. And saying that, if your band or yourself need a fresh sound off a metalcore mix, hit me up on Instagram and I will sort you out. Again, without wasting any of your time, let's hear the before and after of the guitars with them raw and then with them mixed. So as you can tell, it made a ton of difference, and we're about to dive into what goes behind closed doors. So this is where it gets interesting, so stay around for this whole video. So I'll toggle this off, I will solo one of the guitars that I will pan in the middle so that you can get a closer look at it. So what we have here is, let me untoggle these plugins. So the first thing we have here on the guitar is a pre-EQ on the DI. So what I'm doing is I'm giving some low-end boost on the DI because I thought it was kind of lacking a little bit. This is mainly for improving the transient on the frequency of the guitars. So what I'm doing here is I'm boosting some 1500 Hertz just to get a bit more pick attack from the guitar within the DI. And I've shaved off some 3000 Hertz on the high end of it. I don't want the guitars to sound a bit too genty because this is a more focus on a piss core kind of track. And I will show you what I mean soon. So here's the before and after. So I know it kind of kills off the high end of it, but this is where it gets better if you watch closely. We'll look at what the amp setup is. So we have Archetype Gojira X that I like to use for the piss core tracks. This is one of my favorite plugins. I love Neuro DSP plugins. Here we have some gain in the middle kind of, but I just pulled it back a little bit. I didn't touch the bass, I pulled back the mids, boosted trebles, and I don't know if I mess around with everything else on here, but that's the setting that you can see. And I had this cab off because I'm using GGD Studio cabs that I'll show you in a second. I put the overdrive pedal on because I wanted a bit more high-end pick attack from it. Distortion all the way down, a bit more level, and the tonality all the way up. And that's basically about it. Now going through the GGD Studio cabs, I've used a setting, but I can't remember what it was, but I will let you guys go through it. But this is the cab impulse response setup that I have here. I kind of like how the guitar sounds through the cab, and you know, it just fits in nicely. So I'll let you hear the whole guitar tone. So with this pre-EQ, see what I mean by this when I'm killing off all the 3000 Hertz. That is nasty. So that had to go. And then next up we have Spiff, which is also one of my favorite plugins. This is actually a transient plugin for those who haven't heard of Spiff before. You can use other plugins like JSD Transify that I've seen Buster Oderholm use in his mixes. So basically the whole point of it is to increase the pick attack from the strings of the guitars. Because the guitars do lack a bit of chugginess, which has been a bit of a problem throughout the years until this has been put in place for a very chuggy metalcore mix. So therefore we use a transient designer to increase the pick attack of the guitars. And what's good about using Spiff is that you have a lot more options to work with. I'm boosting 2000 kilohertz and the body around 500 hertz just to, like I say, get some more pick attack out of it. You can boost with it. Not only that, you can also cut with it, which we're not doing. And yeah, I totally recommend this plugin. But like I say, you can also use Transify, should that help with your mixes. And here's the before and after, but I will show you what we're listening out for. Let's give it a listen. This is what I'm boosting. And you can just move this about whatever suits to your desire. And then here, this is what I'm boosting a little bit. So yeah, just not too much because I don't want the guitars to sound a bit too muddy from the pick attack. Next up, we got more EQ processing. I'm mainly not only just boosting around here just for more snarl, but I'm also cutting off the woolliness around the 600, 700 hertz and killing off all the, well, I'm removing the harsh frequencies, which I will show you. Hold on 1 second, that's my bad. And now let's listen to this. So this is what I'm boosting. That's the woolliness. And that one here, 3.5, and about 5.5. This one's, yeah, 2,347. So that's basically what we're just looking out for. You want to look out for the harshest frequencies before you can shape the guitar tone to how you want it, which I'm going to be showing you right now. So the most exciting part that we're going through, this is where it changes everything. So I'll pan all the guitars left and right, so we'll have them playing together at the same time as we go through the signal chain of this guitar bus. So let me untoggle these plugins. And then turn off the FX. So here we have the gate, which I'm not sure if the guitarists have been using a noise gate, but I like to put it there just in case, because sometimes when I'm amp processing on the DI guitars, I just like to have it there so that it has a bit more impact and it keeps the guitars a lot more cleaner when they start playing, even if you edit the guitars. So yeah, I just like to have it here just in case, which doesn't really make much of a difference, but I just put it there. Now next we got Pro Q3, so more EQ processing. I'm removing some of the rumble up to 90 hertz, removing some mud from the guitars just so that the bass can fit in with the mix well, removing some honkiness a little bit and other harsh frequencies here, and here we go. And that's not the overall tone, like this. There's more EQ processing here than you think it is. So also removing some more mud, which I don't know why I did that, but made the guitar sound a bit better and it fit in well with the bass. And also removing more harsh frequencies, but I'm mainly just using that EQ moves just to shape the guitar tone. But one important thing that I was removing was the fizziness on the guitars that I didn't really like hearing, that you can see why. So let me play this for you quickly. Here we go. So that's the fizz that you hear. So yeah, quite a nasty frequencies that you hear. So yeah, very crispy, so it had to be removed. And then some more harsh frequencies. That was the frequency I didn't really like hearing with the guitars. Yeah, and more honkiness, like telephone-like effect that I'm removing. And this is the bad mud that I was removing here. And yeah, that's the tone that I've set up for this. And then the next one, we got the Pro MB, which what I'm using this for is to tame the low end of the guitars when they're being palm muted, because when you're palm muting the guitars, it introduces a lot more low end. So that had to be tamed just between 80 Hertz up to 300 Hertz. So, I mean, it made a little bit of difference, but I'll let you hear it. It's better to hear it on headphones. So yeah, it's just nice to have it here. And then the next one, we got JST Heat, which is also one of my favorite plugins. I use it not only for the guitars, but I also use it on bass, and I use it for the mix bus just to get a more crispy kind of sound, but also to beefen up the instrument a little bit. But this one, I am actually using this to beef up the guitars. What I'm doing is adding more low end, mid-range saturation in the guitars with just 30% here, and with the mix knob all the way to 100. So that's basically what it's just doing, but also glues the guitars nicely. So yeah, it sounds very nice. I love this plugin so much. And as it says, just a touch. And then next up we have UAD Empirical Labs Distressor, which is an analog MUA plugin that we all know and love using. So I'm only giving this a little bit of compression because with very distorted guitars that are distorted to shit, you really don't need that much compression. So you only need a tiny bit of compression. Because there's lots of gain in the guitars, it's already compressing it. It's just to clamp down the guitars with the mix with only a bit of compression between about 2 to 3 dB, but maybe when they're palm muted, they could go up to about -4 dB, which is probably more than enough compression, but it's just there. So we got slow attack, which is all the way to 10, and fast release, which is around 1. So a bit of input gain to near enough 5.5, the output near enough 6, so which made the guitars a little bit louder. So here we go. Next, we got the virtual tape saturation that I'm using to glue the guitars, but it also adds a bit more warmth and more high-end a little bit to the guitars. So one of my favorite plugins, I love using it, but yeah, here it is. So yeah, it made it sound a lot more warmer, and there's a nice glue to guitars together. The next plugin we have is Soothe 2, which is the most intelligent plugin that you can ever use. Now what this is doing is it's removing the dynamic resonances in terms of frequencies. Like they're normally very hard to kill off, so Soothe 2 is just there to do the job for you. I have it on hard setting with 0.4 of depth, which is not much. Removing the dynamic resonances around near enough 3,500 Hertz. And to around 700, which is the boxy noises I'm removing. So just boxy and harsh frequencies that I kind of had issues with the guitar tone, considering it's a more pissed guitar tone. So that's what it's doing. And I'll let you hear the before and after, and also let you hear what it's actually removing. So this is where it gets better. So this is exactly what I'm removing. Same for this one. So yeah, when you're using Soothe 2, you shouldn't really overkill this. You should only use it for just removing dynamic frequencies that are a bit harsh to your ears. So like, no more. Okay, now the last plugin that we're using is S1 Shuffler that I've also seen Buster Oderholm use with his guitars. So what it's basically used for is, well, we're not widening the guitars. Well, we kind of are, but we're more actually shuffling the frequencies around the 700 Hertz that I believe fits well with the bass. So what it's actually doing, it's kind of side widening this particular frequency by around 1.6, and it actually made the guitar sound a lot better, and it glues well with the bass. So yeah, it made a little bit of difference, but here it is. So yeah, just the shuffle and the frequency that I mess around with, and that's basically about it. So yeah, that's basically how I mix my guitars. The bottom line is there's no right or wrong about how you should mix your guitars in terms of mixing metal. Like, every guitar tone is different. You just have to EQ your guitars right to get the best guitar tone. With guitar tone making, it just requires a lot more EQ work, a lot more practice, and eventually you will get the desired guitar tone that you really want. If you want to sound like Alpha Wolf or Throne, Polaris, or just any band that you ever desire listening to. So coming to a close of this video, if you learned anything from this video or any questions that you want to ask me in terms of mixing guitars, then drop it down in the comments below. Give this video a like, share it to a friend who's struggling to mix their guitars, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Thank you for watching.